Hello, my name is David Dodman and I work at the International Institute for Environment and Development, IIED, in London. The project is on enabling implementation and tracking progress towards environmentally sustainable and resilient urban development, and this is a joint activity being undertaken by IIED and UN Environment. The project explicitly looks at the third transformative commitment from the New Urban Agenda, which speaks to environmentally sustainable and resilient urban development. And what we want to try and do is create a framework and an understanding to track implementation of this commitment. So we're going to work with city stakeholders, municipal authorities, local civil society, the private sector, identify and support these stakeholders in trying to use this transformative commitment to make cities more sustainable and resilient and to improve well-being for local residents. And we're going to use a process of consultation and peer learning to identify existing indicators that can track progress towards this commitment, linking with and bringing them down to the city level, along with other global commitments, including Sendai, Paris and the SDGs. So the process is very much driven by cities and the knowledge will be generated alongside urban stakeholders. We started off with a very successful workshop at the World Urban Forum, and we're going to follow this up with an African regional workshop. And what we're getting out of these workshops is the ability to sensitize and work with city officials and make sure that the framing of indicators that we come up with is really adequately responsive to the data availability and the priorities facing cities, particularly small and medium-sized cities. Another element that we feel is significant is making sure that the indicators and frameworks are responsive to the needs of low-income groups, particularly those living in informal settlements. And we've got a very strong framing of gender, making sure that the indicators are going to be gender relevant, looking at things like the time and effort that's spent by women in gathering things like water and fuel, and also making sure that our data is adequately disaggregated. So what we're hoping to get out of this is a framing of indicators, a sense of what indicators are already available, and then coming up with recommendations which are relevant at the urban, at the national and at the global level, and for coming up with ways of tracking progress towards this particular component of the New Urban Agenda.